don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. Where I last left off on my book was I finished chapter 5. I think it was Defeat. Very short chapter. Spread it up into 3 videos because I'm terrible at reading, and you guys have seen proof of me reading words that aren't even what was it? I pushed. I read past instead of pushed. How did I do that? I mean, I know I'm dyslexic, but there's no excuse. There's no excuse. How? So yeah, I'm on chapter 6, birthday journey. I drew a little picture too. Ain't that pretty? It's actually in color on ebook, but yeah, can't really afford colored pages. Freaking expensive. Oh my gosh. Okay, birthday journey. Ash awoke to a clamor outside. Can't even hold the book properly. Ash awoke to a clamor outside. It was still dark out, as the moon was only halfway through its motion. Ash groggily pulled himself upright in his raised straw bed, hearing a bit of quiet laughter and some shrugging and some shushing whispers. As soon as his feet touched the creaking hardwood floor, the voices outside hushed. He took unhurried steps over to the wall and raised the wood frame leather window, only to see Peter, Gerd, and Hollis freeze in place where they had been trying to scramble on top of one another in order to get in through his bedroom window. Ash stared at them as he held the window up. "What are you guys doing?" Ash probed with a weary smile on his face. It was almost comical to see how Hollis, who was standing on top of Gerd's shoulder, clinging on to the windowsill, while Peter was supporting him from the rear with his hands propping their backs, making sure neither of them toppled over. Peter removed his hands from the other boys' backs. "Nothing," he replied, but without Peter's weight holding them up, Hollis and Gerd fell backward, and they all collapsed to the ground with a loud thump. "We wanted to surprise you," Hollis said from the pile on the ground. "Get off me, Hollis," Gerd said, pushing Hollis off of him. "We wanted to surprise you on your birthday, Ash." Ash looked confused. "Oh yeah, you're right. That is today," Ash realized with surprise. He stopped and looked at them all. "Why did you want to surprise me?" he asked with curiosity, looking closely at the 3 of them. "Well, since you live out of town, we thought it would be nice to wake you up with our visit and news." Peter, Gerd, and Hollis looked at each other expectantly. "Okay, well, when my father and I were visiting..." Turn the page. "Anchor Hill last week," Peter paused for dramatic effect, "I heard a rumor that the elves have been going to every large human settlement." Gerd and Hollis looked excited. "For what purpose?" Ash grinned. Ash grilled. "For what purpose?" Ash grilled. The 3 boys shrugged their shoulders, indicating they did not have an answer to the question. "Well, the last time the elves came to the human settlements, it was to throw us out," Gerd reminded them all. "They wouldn't do that again," Hollis said in a timid voice. "Right?" "Of course not. We were sent out because of the war." Ash paused in contemplation. "Unless..." "Oh, That is enough of that, Peter said dismissively. Elves have not been seen since they sent us away. He was all giddy about the prospect of seeing elves. Why don't we all go to Anchor Hill and see if the elves have arrived there? He continued excitedly. It always takes forever for us to get a message from that village, he added with dismay. Remember when the dwarves came selling their wares? We didn't hear about it till the next time my father headed up there. And even then, we didn't believe it since we hadn't seen them for ourselves. Dwarves came selling things? Garrett asked. Oh yeah, you weren't there, Peter said with a slight laugh. Then you are just as bad as them, Ash said as he walked up to where they were standing. He had climbed out of the window while they were talking. You don't share what you learn, Ash finally finished teasingly. Well, let's get going, Hollis said. We will have to go all the way downstream to reach Anchor Hill. He continued walking toward the river as he spoke. As the sun began to crest the horizon, the boys realized they had already walked through the night. We should have never done this, Peter, the heaviest of them, complained. We should have just taken a carriage, he mused out loud. They had been over this before, of course. Peter was from the richest family in their small town and had never walked to Anchor Hill before because his father had a carriage. It was just a simple carriage ride by road, but on foot it was a lengthy endeavor. They had started in the dead of night, and morning was just about to break for midday, since the sun was clearing the distant tree line. Peter had suffered from the onset of the walk due to his plumpness, but it had started to get to the rest of them all. They were exhausted and wanted to sit down and rest. Can't we take a break already? Peter continued to whine. You do not stop and rest in the woods, Ash said, looking around at the trees. Although he was as ready for a break as the rest of them, there are foul beasts here, and we must keep moving. I don't think that is a problem. The worst one in these woods is your pet, Peter wheezed out jokingly. Hey now, Scar is a sweetie, and not like the rest of his kind. Besides, it is still hard to try and prevent him from eating you, Peter, Ash quipped back. They continued on with their good humor, making the trek easier on themselves, until suddenly the trees broke way and they could see a vast amount of water. We made it, Peter shouted with what energy he could muster. And then he found himself with a second wind, picking up his pace and passing the others as he beat them all to the tree line. Oh, strike it all, he cursed into the air. The others quickly made it behind him, and in unison said, Oh. Well, this is an issue, Ash said, looking across the lake at Anchor Hill, where they were headed. In order to get there, they would either have to swim across the lake or walk around the entire lake. Ash let out a heavy breath. Well, I guess we can't stop now, he said, looking at the others. So, swim or walk around? He asked as he continued past them and began to walk along the pebble-strewn edge of the water, already knowing that swimming across the lake was out of the question. They had made it halfway around the lake when Hollis abruptly stopped, right in front of Gerd, which made Gerd walk right into him. "What the heck, man?" Gerd cried, taking a step back and looking at Hollis. Hollis was not even listening. He was focused at a point across the lake. Peter, who had not paid attention to Gerd stumbling, was following Hollis's gaze. Peter mumbled. Across the lake was a massive deer-like creature. Its coat was white as snow, and it walked with a grace which the boys had never seen in an animal. The creature walked as if it knew it was the ruler of the forest. It would sip from the lake, then look up, surveying everything in its view. Beautiful. No one knew which one of them had said it, or if all of them had spoken it, because they were all so spellbound by the majestic creature that it could have been all of them, and they would have not known it. Then suddenly, a woman walked out from behind the tree line across the lake and patted the side of the grand deer as it nuzzled her. The woman then gracefully jumped an unbelievable height onto the creature's back. "That's an elf," Peter whispered with awe. Again, he had a sudden boost of energy and briskly walked past everyone. He wanted to get to town. It wasn't much further. I think that's where I'm going to stop there. This chapter I don't think is that long. I think I actually have just a bit more. Very short. I'm going to break it up just because might as well keep you guys in suspense if it is even like that. Just to get you guys to want to purchase it. Yeah, please support me by, yada, 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 yada. Everything all the YouTubers say, the merchandising, the things I create, just whatever. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, it's fun to go back. I'm pretty sure in 30 years I'm going to go back and reread this and laugh at everything. It's just like, that's such a cheesy thing to say. That's such a terrible thing to say. But heck, I would be happy that I did it because it gets the ball rolling. That's all I needed to do was get the ball rolling. Thank you all for watching. Till next time. Toodles.